Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another Nikke Goddess of Victory video. Alright, daily reminder to do your weekly co-op. If you guys haven't already, please do it. Alright, today's the last day I believe. Now let's talk about upcoming banner. If you guys are not aware, we have Alice banner coming, which is surprising. Now let's talk about all of this. Alright, so a couple of things that I want you guys to take with a grain of salt. This is just my theory going in. So we got Alice banner announced and we have a new event coming soon to replace the current Sakura event, right? License to Kill. Now this is going to feature one more new character. So for the first time ever, we're going to have two banners, right? Where one is a red up banner for a new character and one is a red up banner for a existing character that already exists before. And I don't think they have ever done this before. Alice is going to be the first time that they are doing this. Alright, so Alice banner. Now, what do I think about Alice? We're going to talk about her more thoroughly later on, but I think she's not bad. One of the best attacker that's non-pilgrim available to any players right now. Now, I have a theory going into this of why they decided to put Alice as a banner. My theory is, a couple of days ago, they announced this particular thing. Nikke Global Popularity Poll from April 12th to April 18th. Now, putting Alice in the banner, Alice is a pretty famous character. If you have been following the social media, you would see a lot of fan art for Alice. You would see cosplays of Alice going everywhere around. So I have a feeling they're trying to push it towards Alice so that Alice is the costume that we'll be getting, the free costume that will be designed for the most popular Nikke. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my theory going into this. There's a reason why they chose Alice. Some people have been speculating that because it's an Easter bunny. That doesn't make sense because the banner is not happening today. Alright, so happy Easter by the way. Now let's talk about the other character banner, which is D. Now D is a very unique character. Alright, she is very different from what we have before, but it looks like she's definitely much more towards the PvP side of things. Now let's talk about everything that we know between these two banners. Who should you pull? Let's jump into it. Now let's get D out of the way first. D is a decent character, so she's an Elysian unit. Finally something that's kind of good, right? I would prefer more Elysian than Tetra. Sick of Tetra, man. So many Tetra units. So let's talk about D. What skill sets does she has? Now D is an SMG character, as you can see. Weapon, attacker, wind element, burst 3. Alright, she's going to compete with Privity from Elysian. She's going to compete with all the other burst 3. Now, if you already have Scarlet, you already have a bunch of pilgrims like Modernia, Scarlet, etc. You probably don't need any more burst 3. There's just no... It makes no sense to have another burst 3. But like I mentioned, she's much more of a PvP unit. So let's talk about what she has, what she's capable of. Now first things first, normal attack you can see pretty basic, reload time 1.5 seconds, and her ammo is 120. Now her first passive skill is called Vigorous Waves. On first glance, this seems like a good skill, activates when entering full burst, and it affects herself. Damage as strong element is going to increase by 27.7% for 15 seconds. Now this is where your element, for example, if you are water and enemy is fire, that is boost even more. Your damage is boost even higher. You get 27.7% at level 1 and it goes extremely high. You can see at level 10, bam, up to 46% extra damage just because you have the elemental advantage. Not bad. Too bad it only affects self though. This is something that you gotta take note of. Recovers 3.52% of attack, damage as HP. So she has some sort of lifesteal, or not lifesteal but rather recovery of some sort. But again, this only affects herself. If not, this would be good pair with Scarlet for sure because Scarlet always have her HP reduced when she attacks. But yeah, this is only something that affects herself. And one more thing is recovers 16.5% of attack, damage as HP. Also lasts for a couple of seconds. So you can see both these skills seems to affect self. Unless they change it on release, then we'll have to apply a different analysis. But for now, it seems to only cater towards her. Doesn't seem like it works well in the team. But there's this other skill called Surprise Attack. Activates when the target appears, affects all allies. Now, charges burst gauge by 73%, which is a lot, right? Burst gauge is how fast you can charge your burst gauge and activates 1 time per battle. Now, this is going to be really strong in PvP. In PvP, if you guys are not aware, whoever that's able to charge burst gauge first and destroy the opponent, if you're able to charge burst 1, burst 2, burst 3, let's say you have a Scarlet or if a Privity, you are able to destroy enemy first. That's just how it is in PvP. Most of the time, if you activate your burst first, you're gonna win. Alright? But she also has an ability that becomes immune to stun for 19 seconds. Now again, In PvP, the meta right now, Privity is the strongest burst tree because, or she's one of the strongest because of her ability to stun all the opponent. Alright, her stun is just so annoying. Now, having her as a counter to that, that is just more than welcome. And you can see how she's going to be very, very strong in PvP for sure, right? Activates when the target appears, affects self, damage as strong element increased by 44.68%, lasts for 15 seconds. Now again, this is also something that I don't know, it's very unfortunate that it only affects self. Again, damage strong element, increase again. Now let's look at the burst skill. 40 seconds, burst 3, affects all enemies, deals damage as attack, affects all attacker allies. When attacking a certain part of an enemy, damage dealt to the part increased by 16%. This at level 1, obviously most of us will get it to level 4 easily. Is this something that you need? Maybe it's useful if you're trying to get rid of certain parts, maybe it's useful in co-op raids. Now it really depends on the bosses, right? Like for example, Modernia boss. If you're fighting Modernia boss, you don't want to get rid of her wings, you don't want to destroy her parts. So this is kind of bad there. It really depends on where we are applying this on. I wouldn't say this is a universal thing. This is much more specific to certain bosses. Maybe for now, I don't see a case where this is useful. But yeah, other than that, I think it's much more of a niche skill to have. Affects all allies when gaining immunity to stun. Full burst time increased by 5 seconds. Now this part can be useful when you gain immunity to stun. Having full burst for extra 5 seconds, I can see this definitely being very, very helpful. Now again, we'll have to test to see if this is going to be much better than, let's say, having a support burst tree like Drake or Maxwell. I think those two makes more sense. Now, let's talk about Alice. If you guys are not aware, Alice is, like I mentioned, should you pull Alice? Now, if you are very close to the 160 wall, let's say you have 2 of her copies, I would say yes, try to get Alice as part of your full limit break tree. Because Alice, if you guys are not aware, she will not be available right here in the shop. This particular shop, this mileage shop, you can never buy Alice spare body. So the only way for you to get Alice is via pulls. Now if Alice is one of your limit break 2 and you're trying to get the limit break 3 as one of your 5 party members to be able to get past the full 160 gate, she is going to be your only hope. In that case, yes, I would highly suggest you guys to get her. Now, in terms of damage, what can Alice provide? Alice is by far the strongest burst tree character that is not Pilgrim. Alright, so that's by far something that I think a lot of players can collectively agree. If you're looking at Pilgrim units burst tree, yes, Scarlet is still very strong, Modernia is very strong. But Alice is probably the strongest, that if you don't count the Pilgrim into the equation, I think she's probably the top 3 strongest one. She is from a Tetra faction, right? I actually think she has a lot of potential if you build her correctly. Like I even in this case, showcase right here in this particular setting, I compare her against Sugar in a Union, the shooting range, and I'm quite surprised of the results considering that the shooting range is where it favors shotgun users in general because there's more enemies and the burst from Sugar should be able to disperse and hit more enemies. But surprisingly, Alice does way more. Now I do have a slightly better gear on Alice, but still Sugar has better skill level by far, and Sugar also has a 1 extra level for the cube with the reload cube. But definitely do not sleep on Alice if you're looking to pull for one of the best, strongest damage dealer, and if you lack damage in your team, consider getting her for sure. I do think that Alice might be more beneficial to most accounts, the newer accounts especially, compared to D, but D is definitely going to be much more favorable if you focus on PvP a lot. So yeah, overall that's going to be my honest opinion regarding these 2 banners. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys looking forward to pulling either Alice or D? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.